And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 8 seasons. Let's make it 9 in 2021. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FV Show, we are going to wrap up our NFL draft player profiles for the running back position, taking a look at all the running backs, at least the majority of running backs, entering the NFL draft in 2021 and looking at them through the lens of fantasy football, kind of breaking down where they may fall in the NFL draft and ultimately how they can help you in your dynasty league, your rookie draft, and just, for fantasy football for years to come, right? So enough of the bullshit though. Before we get started, hit that like button down below, subscribe so you don't miss a video from me. I got like 16 or 17 wide receiver videos to do. I got 6 quarterbacks to get through, and I got a few tight ends as well. So there's going to be a lot of content here on the channel over the course of the next 2 weeks. And then obviously as we continue to move throughout the fantasy football offseason and into draft season, the train ain't just going to stop. There's no stopping this truck. All right, let's dive right in. Actually, before we do that, I'm terrible at this right now. It's fine. Follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. And now let's dive in to Buffalo running back Jarrett Patterson. This is somebody who I'm really excited to talk about. I got a few things to say here. So let's just get right to this. All right. Jarrett Patterson has one of the most electric highlight tapes you'll ever watch. This kid is fantastic. But the big concern is that it feels like he's a one-trick pony. That being said, that one trick is really fucking good. This kid is just an absolute speed demon, so before we dive into anything else, let's just go through his measurables and just some things about him. So he's 21 years old, 5'6", so definitely a little small boy, 195 pounds, and ran a 4.59 40. But that number honestly really surprised me because you watch plays like this and he's just faster than everybody else on the field. And it's blatantly obvious that he was that. And as a result, this is going to be a very weird comparison, and very few people may actually understand where this comparison comes from. He reminds me a lot of Raymond Calais, who just came out of Louisiana Lafayette last year. He was drafted by the Buccaneers and in the 6th round and was on the Rams practice squad by the end of the year. But I had the same kind of feelings watching Jarrett Patterson as I did watching Calais and his highlight tape last year. And Calais was a guy who I really liked if he ever got the opportunity. So by and large, Jarrett Patterson really is just a speed dude. Literally a speed demon. You're going to watch him right here and he's just, bye, see ya, adios. No one's going to even come close to fucking touching him. And as a result, the player comparison that I have for him is interesting. Because when you look across the NFL and you look across the running backs, there's not a whole lot of just blatant speed across the league. And that's why I landed on a comparison that I really like, because I think it fits Jarrett Patterson, the player, and the play style. And that is Matt Breida. Matt Breida, if you don't know, because I feel like Matt Breida is just such a considered an average running back, right? Matt Breida is one of the fastest players in the NFL. He has wheels and he's small, and just a combination of those two things, it's literally Jarrett Patterson. Matt Breida is currently the NFL version of him. So that was one where maybe that's not the sexiest name for a comparison or for fantasy football by and large, but Matt Breida has had success when given the opportunity, and it is in part because of that speed, because of his ability to get into the second level, because of his ability to rip off a monster play, right? It only takes one. It only takes one, and you are looking at that with Jarrett Patterson as he skirts into the end zone yet again. And that's the thing. Jarrett Patterson has played 3 seasons, isn't really a pass catcher, just was not used in that role. In fact, his last season in 2020, he did not have a single reception, but he still had 1,000 yards. In his 3 seasons in college, he had a 1,000-yard season in all of them. I believe he had 15-plus touchdowns. I lied. He had 14-plus touchdowns in all 3 seasons. His touchdown numbers, 14, 19, and 20. It's unbelievable. He has one job. 1, run really fast. His job after that, get into the fucking end zone, because that is what Jarrett Patterson does. So his best season was in, what was that, 2018, 2019? In 2019, excuse me. In 2019, 20 total touchdowns, 312 carries, 1,799 yards, 13 receptions, 16 targets, and 209 receiving yards. So he had a 2,000 yard season, 2,000 total yard season, and 20 touchdowns all in the same year. This dude is a fucking machine. And it's wild because you wouldn't expect somebody with his frame of being only 5'6" and sub 200 to be able to handle a workload of that magnitude. Just kind of go through, you know, what his carry counts were: 183, 312, and then 141, which is just this very weird drop off. I don't know what happened there, why he got such a big opportunity in 2019 comparative to his other two seasons. But regardless, I'm not complaining because he very clearly demonstrated the ability to make the most of it. And like, that's the thing, like, you look at his yards per carry, everything was above 5, no matter what the volume was. Again, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and just an absolute touchdown magnet. And that's what's really wild, is like, just looking at the collective. I mean, this dude it's wild. It really is. You're looking at pretty much 100 yards under 4,000 total rushing yards. And then in terms of total touchdowns, it's like 43 in 3 years. Holy shit. Yeah, Jarrett Patterson's pretty fucking good. Now, where does he translate in terms of the next level? That's where this gets really interesting, because what's going to be the team that gives him that opportunity to step foot on the field and do what he does best, which again is just give him the ball and let him run really, really, really fast, and then get in the end zone by the end of it, right? And that's why that Matt Breida comparison again is a good one, just because not only is it, oh, he fits the mold of Jarrett Patterson, but also Matt Breida is a guy who is by and large a change of pace player in Kyle Shanahan's offensive system. We all know the platoon system that San Fran likes to run, as annoying as it may be, right? But you look at the play styles of Raheem Mostert, Matt Breida, and Jeff Wilson. All three of those guys had very different skill sets, right? Just very different players. And being able to just kind of have that change of pace. We've seen Pittsburgh do it as well with Jalen Samuels and James Conner. So, like, this is nothing new for the NFL, but it is new for fantasy, because you aren't going to get a whole lot of viability unless you absolutely land in a spot where they use multiple running backs, or that lead dog could either go down for an injury, which is an option in literally any other of the 29 clubs, or 31 clubs, excuse me. And then does he just have the opportunity to naturally take over? Like, if he, like, this is a really bad example, but you'll see where we're going with this. If he goes to a Houston, and let's say they didn't have Mark Ingram and Phillip Lindsay they just signed, like, he absolutely could take over for David Johnson at some point in the season, right? So it is one of those things where just looking at it by circumstance, where he goes, and obviously it's kind of like this for a lot of the rookies. It's all pretty dependent upon landing spot, but there is a path for Jarrett Patterson to just have this natural role in the NFL, just based on what his skill set is. If he does just ultimately, if he's only seen as this change of pace guy. So that's all I got for you. Actually, before I dip, let me just tell you where I have him ranked. Again, I'm doing 12 running backs. As of right now, I have him at 11, but that 11 isn't bad, because you look at, again, what he can do and what he can be, and the potential is through the roof. It is absolutely through the roof, and that's why I'm very curious to know where I'll ultimately have him slated at the end of the draft. So if you want to see those rankings, go ahead and check out the website, ffvulture.com. They're all going to be over there. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss a video from me. And remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever. I will see you in the next video.